Hello friends, I am Dr. Ashish Agrawat. In this video, I am going to discuss about the renal function test, or you can say it is a kidney function test. So we will see the different function of kidney and what are the different tests that will help us to see the functions of the kidney. So this is a diagram of the kidney. You can see there is the outer portion is called cortex, inner portion is this portion is called medulla, this portion is called cortex, right? Here you can divide into the cortex and medulla, and here each unit, the active functional unit of the kidney is called nephron. This nephron is made up of Bowman capsule and tubules. So here there is a glomerulus. This is glomerulus. It is a tuft of capillary. It is made up of capillaries, which is afferent arteriole and efferent arteriole, right? And the covering layer is called Bowman capsule, right? So this glomerulus will work as a filtration. Okay, all our plasma that is filtered through the glomerulus. So you can see the blood is coming through the glomerulus, afferent arteriole and efferent arteriole, and the covering is called as a Bowman's capsule. Okay, and this whole structure is called glomerulus. Now, what are the functions of the kidney? So, filtration, reabsorption, excretion, homeostatic function, and endocrine function. So, we will see what is the excretion. So, the end product of protein metabolism, urea, that is excreted through the kidney, or other waste product, toxin, drug metabolites, all are excreted through the kidney. So, in case of kidney failure, these waste products will accumulate and it may present with the coma, right? Then homeostatic, so it will maintain the water salt balance, acid base balance, and endocrine function. It will help in the synthesis of hormones like erythropoietin, renin, and vitamin D. This erythropoietin is synthesized by the interstitial cell, renin is by the juxtaglomerular cell, and vitamin D is synthesized by the proximal convoluted tubule. So very important hormone function, right? Erythropoietin is for the maturation of RBC. Okay, this renin, that is very important in the mechanism of maintaining the blood pressure, and vitamin D, as we know, very important in the bone. So water electrolyte balance, acid base balance, excretion of the waste products, toxin, drug metabolites, urea, creatinine, okay, all are excreted via the kidney. And very important function is glomerulus and tubular function. So glomerular function is the filtration. So what is the glomerular filtration rate? That around, it is around 120 to 130 ml per minute in a person with the 70 kg body weight. Glomerular filtrate form around 170 to 180 liter per day, out of which 1.5 liter are excreted. Rest around 168 to 178 liter per day is absorbed. Okay, so only 1.5 is excreted as the urine. So that is our normal urine output. Right. So decrease in GFR when there is a blood pressure is less than 80 millimeter per mercury or obstruction to the renal flow. Then tubular function in proximal convoluted tubule, around 70% water, sodium and chloride, that is reabsorbed, and 100% of glucose, amino acid and potassium. These are very important molecules for our body. So our kidney will try to reabsorb this molecule. During the plasma flow, they are filtered in the kidney, but they are reabsorbed in the tubules. Okay, because they are very important. Then urea, phosphate, calcium, they are partially absorbed. Now, what is renal threshold? It is around 180 milligram per deciliter. So, up to the 180 milligram, kidney will try to reabsorb the glucose. Then, when level is increased, then it will appear in the urine. Now, how we can classify the renal function test or kidney function test? One is to screen the kidney disease, whether the person has the kidney disease or not. So, complete urine analysis, that is urine routine and micro, then plasma urine and creatinine, urea and creatinine level, and plasma electrolytes, that is sodium and potassium. You can watch my video about sodium potassium in water and electrolyte balance. Then to assess the renal function, we have two options. To assess the glomerular function, that is by the glomerulus filtration rate, and we can measure in GFR, that is we measure the clearance test. Then we can measure the permeability by the proteinuria. And second in the renal function assessment is to assess the tubular function. So reabsorption studies, secretion studies, concentration and dilution studies, and renal acidification. So now we will see one by one. So in urine analysis, what are the abnormal constituents that can be present? We have to find out whether there is a blood is there or protein is there, right? Glucose is there or not. Because all these are ketone bodies, these are abnormal substance that can be present in urine. Like blood is present, that is suggestive of any injury or stone, right? Or there is a TB, tuberculosis. So all are cause of the blood in the urine. Okay, hematuria, that is acute injury, most common cause. Then protein is suggestive of the nephrotic syndrome. Glucose and ketone bodies are suggestive of diabetes mellitus. Okay, like that. So we have to see the volume. Okay, so in diabetes, volume is increased, or in oliguria, chronic renal failure, the urine output is decreased. Then we see the appearance, we see the odor. We have seen that, okay, mousy odor of urine is because of the phenylketonuria, like that. Then color of the urine, if there is a blood, the color is red in color. Okay, in case of jaundice, there is a dark yellow color due to rifampicin therapy. It may be brownish red color. Okay, reaction of litmus paper, that will help us to identify whether urine is acidic or alkaline. Okay, normally urine is acidic because of presence of excretion of the acids, and specific gravity, that is around 1.010 to 1.030. Okay, so we have to see everything. So chemical substance that can be present, protein, blood, reducing substance, ketone body, bile salt, bile pigment, this all abnormal substance we can do in the urine analysis. So that will give us idea about the function of kidney. Then non-protein nitrogen substance like urea, uric acid, and creatinine. Okay, so for urea in the urine analysis, okay, sodium hypobromide test we can do, or urease test we can do. In uric acid, there is a uric acid test, specific uric acid test, and creatinine we do the Jaffe's test. Now the markers of glomerulus filtration rate, that is a clearance test. Okay, so glomerulus filtration rate we can measure with the help of clearance. We can mainly use urea clearance, creatinine clearance, and inulin clearance. So what is clearance? It is a volume of blood or plasma which is completely clear of the substance, particular substance. Suppose we want to measure the urea clearance test, so that is the volume of blood or plasma, which is completely cleared of that urea by the kidney per unit time, that is per ml per minute. Okay, so in 1 minute, how much volume of blood plasma which is completely cleared of the particular substance, that is called as the clearance. Remember, this is frequently asked in the viva. Okay, now the substance which is filtered, neither reabsorbed nor secreted, then GFR will be equal to clearance. So neither reabsorbed nor secreted, that is inulin, most important. Okay, and creatinine, but creatinine as such, some amount that is secreted by the tubule, so creatinine may be increased. Then substance which is filtered okay, that is filter, but it is partially reabsorbed. So the main example is urea. Okay, we have seen that 70% of urea is reabsorbed. So that in that case, clearance will be less than the GFR. So we will see that GFR is around 120 to 130 ml per minute. 120 to 130 ml per minute, right? But for the urea clearance, it is around 75, because most of that it is reabsorbed urea, right? Then the substance which is filtered, secreted, but not reabsorbed, right? So they are secreted but not reabsorbed, like diodrast and para-amino hippuric acid. In that case, clearance will be more than the GFR. So this GFR is affected by the age, sex, body size, protein intake, and pregnancy. Normal GFR is around 120 to 130 ml per minute in the body surface area of 1.73 meter square. It is constant in the normal individual. GFR is not directly measured, therefore we measure the clearance test. Okay, so in clearance there is the exogenous and endogenous. Exogenous may be inulin, okay, which is a made up of polymer of fructose, right? Then 51 chromium label EDTA or technetium label EDTA. That this all these substance we can give exogenously, we can give IV, okay, and we measure the GFR, or we can measure the endogenously produced substance, that is urea and creatinine. Okay, so we'll see about the urea clearance test. So remember this formula, it is UV upon P. So now what is U? Okay, so U is a concentration of urea in the urine per 100 ml of urine. V is a volume of urine per minute, and P is a concentration of urea in the plasma. So whatever the concentration of urea in the urine, that is our U. V is a volume of urine per minute. So around it is 1500, that is normal urine output, and if we divide it by the number of minutes per day, that is 24 into 60, that is 1440. So this V is around 1. Okay, and U is a concentration of urea in the urine and divided by the P, that is concentration of urea in the plasma. So that will give us idea about the urea clearance. Okay, so standard clearance when urine volume of urine is less than 2 ml per minute, and this maximum clearance when volume of urine is 2.0 ml or more than that. Okay, so if it is urine volume of urine when it is more than 2 ml per minute, then we have to use this formula, and when volume of urine is less than 2 ml per minute, we have to use this formula. So maximum clearance if urine output, urine volume exceeds 2 ml per minute, right? And then in that case, it is directly proportional to the concentration of urea in the blood, right? But when urinary volume is less than 2 ml per minute, the rate of urea elimination is reduced because relatively more urea is reabsorbed in the tubules, and it is proportionate to the square root of urinary volume, right? So we see that maximum clearance is U into V upon P, while standard clearance will be U into root V upon P. Okay, so when to use this V? When volume of urine is more than 2 ml per minute. When to use this standard urea clearance? When volume is less than 2 ml per minute. Why so? Because in less concentration, here relatively more urea is reabsorbed in the tubules. So it is proportionate to the square root of urinary volume. Now how will you interpret? So if greater than 70%, kidney are excreting it satisfactorily. When the clearance, urea clearance is 40 to 70%, there is a mild impairment. When it is between 20 to 40%, there is a moderate impairment. And when less than 20%, it is severe impairment of renal function. So what do you mean by that? Whenever the kidney are not functioning, that means that urea is not excreted, okay, not cleared by the kidney. Okay. So now coming to the creatinine clearance. So it is a normal metabolite just like urea. It does not require the intravenous administration like for the inulin clearance. We have to administer, okay, intravenously. Here there is no requirement of that. So estimation of creatinine is very simple. Okay, so formula for the creatinine clearance is UV upon P, but here the body surface area is added because it depends on our muscle mass, and body surface area creatinine is affected. Right. So what is U? It is the concentration of creatinine in the urine. What is V? That is the volume of urine per minute, and P is concentration of creatinine in the serum or plasma. Right. So whenever the level is increased, serum creatinine, it's suggestive of impairment of kidney. Okay. And greater than 1.5 milligram indicates impairment of the renal function. Okay, so serum creatinine also important good marker. So it is normally excreted via the kidney. Okay, but whenever the level, whenever there is a damage to the kidney, the level will be increased. More the creatinine level, more the kidney damage is there. Okay, it is also increased in muscle injury also. because it is a metabolic product of the muscle metabolism. Then in which condition creatine is decreased? In severe liver injury, because creatine that is formed by the glycine and arginine, it is the reaction is taking place in the liver. So in liver it will be decreased. Now, so creatinine clearance, if there is a kidney damage, the creatinine will not be excreted, so level in the blood creatinine level will be increased. Okay, but whenever there is a damage to the kidney, it will not be cleared, so the creatinine clearance will be decreased. Okay, when you damage, the clearance will be decreased. Now here there is a formula called estimated GFR, eGFR. Okay, what is the problem with the urea clearance or creatinine clearance? You have to require 24-hour urine sample. Okay, for that we have a estimated GFR for this problem. The equation is called Cock-Croft-Gault equation. Okay, remember this. This is asked in the competitive exam also. So Cock-Croft-Gault formula, what is that? It is 140 minus age in the years into the weight in kilogram. Okay, into the K, we will see what is K, divided by the 72 into the serum creatinine in milligram per deciliter. Okay, so suppose age is 70. Okay, so 140, suppose age is 60, right, into 72, the serum creates is suppose 2. Okay, and weight is around 72. Okay, like that. And K is 1 for the male and 0.85 for the female. Okay, so if it is a male, then you have to write 1. So 140 minus 60, that is 80. This 72 is 1. 80 divided by 2, that eGFR, estimated GFR is 40. So how it is different from the GFR? Because in clearance test, what we require 24-hour urine output. Here we don't require 24-hour urine output. Okay, it only requires a blood test, that is serum creatinine, right? There is another formula for estimated GFR is MDRD, modification of diet in patient with renal disease. What is that? It is 186 into serum creatinine exponential of minus 1.154 into age exponential minus 0.203 into 1 into 1 in case of American person, but American male. But if African person, it is 1.212, and in female it is 0.742. They have to multiply. Okay, so this is two formula that you have to remember. It is frequently asked. You can take screenshot of this windows. Now, what are the disadvantage of creatinine as a GFR? Okay, that you have to remember that about 10% is tubular component. It is secreted by from the tubules. So when GFR is reduced, the secretory component is increased. So creatinine clearance will overestimate the GFR about 10 to 20 ml per minute. So suppose it is around, it should be suppose like 100 to 110. Because of the secretion, it is increased to 120 to 130, right? So early kidney failure may not be detected, okay, because of that. So if I revise again, urea clearance, it is around 75 ml per minute because urea is partially reabsorbed. So hence it is less than the GFR. What is normal GFR? Is around 120 to 130, right? Then what is creatinine clearance? It is slightly higher than the GFR. So it is around 145 ml per minute because it is secreted by the tubules. And inulin clearance is approximate to the normal GFR because it is neither secreted not reabsorbed. So mainly we use the inulin secretion test. Now what is creatinine coefficient? It is the urinary creatinine expressed in milligram per kg of body weight. So it is increased in case of muscular dystrophy, and normal range is around 20 to 28 milligram per kg in male and 15 to 21 milligram per kg in female. Now there is a recent marker that is called as the cystatin C. So it is molecular weight is around 13 kilodalton. It is a non-glycosylated protein. Normal level is around 0.8 to 1.2 milligram per liter. It is seen in high concentration in biological fluids like saliva, tears, and breast milk. It is most abundant extracellular It is cysteine protease inhibitor. Okay, remember what is cystatin C? It is cysteine protease inhibitor. It is produced at the constant rate. There is acute renal filtration, no secretion, not reabsorbed, right? And it is not dependent on age, sex, blood, muscle mass, or inflammatory process. Okay, like age and sex can affect the creatinine level, or urea can be reabsorbed by the kidney, but cystatin, no of the nothing is affected. Okay, so it is very important for early detection of kidney disease. So serum level of cystatin C is better marker, better test for GFR than the serum creatinine. Okay, so for the estimation of GFR also or diagnose early kidney failure, we use the cystatin C. So it is unaffected by the non-renal factors, muscle mass, weight, height, gender, okay, less inter-individual variation. So it is very important. Cystatin C is very important over the serum creatinine. Now another important blood test. So we have seen so far that to assess the kidney disease, we have a urine examination. We have a serum creatinine level we can measure. Cystatin C level we can measure. So creatinine level is increased, then we can suspect the kidney failure. Cystatin C, it is not affected by the muscle mass or anything, and it is early detector of kidney disease. Same way, urea, it is excreted by the kidney. Okay, urea is the end product of protein metabolism, and that urea is excreted by the kidney. And whenever there is a kidney damage, so urea will not be excreted, so urea level will be increased. There is a pre-renal, renal, and post-renal cause. I will make separate video about the urea estimation. Okay, so what will be the pre-renal cause? Most important cause is vomiting, like dehydration. When plasma volume is lost, so comparatively it will be increased. Or in surgery, the GI hemorrhage, because the hemorrhage bleeding tendency, more and more out of bleeding, RBC breakdown, and more globin chain is released and amino acids, and they are metabolized, and urea level will be increased. And renal cause, as we know, acute renal failure, chronic renal failure, urea level is increased. And post-renal, most important is stone or urinary stricture. There is obstruction to the urinary flow. In all this cause, the urea level is increased. Urea level is decreased in the severe liver damage because it is synthesized in the liver. Severe liver damage, it is decreased. Now urea will be equal to 2.14 into the blood urea nitrogen. Okay, because what is the formula of urea? It is NH2CO NH2, right? So blood urea nitrogen, so it is around 2.4, and molecular weight of nitrogen is 28. 48 into 2, that is 28, and all our molecular weight is 60. So 60 divided by 28, that is 2.14. Okay, so urea is 2.14 into the blood urea nitrogen. Now what are the markers of glomerular permeability? So this glomerulus act as a selective filter, and based on the charge, size, and shape, molecules are permeable. So molecules smaller than 5 kilodalton like urea, glucose, creatinine, electrolytes are freely filtered, but most of that they are reabsorbed by the tubules. So permitted only for the less than 69 kilodalton, like, okay. So albumin with the molecular weight of 69 cannot be transported. Okay, while hemoglobin, which has a molecular weight of 67, it can be filtered. And normal level of proteins, that is less than 150 milligram. Proteinuria, what are the indication? Diagnosis of nephrotic syndrome, where there is a proteinuria, hypoalbuminemia, so albumin is lost in the urine, that will lead to the edema. And prognosis of progressive renal disease, okay, diagnosis of early diabetic nephropathy, and the different type of proteinuria like glomerular proteinuria, overflow proteinuria, and tubular proteinuria. So what is glomerular proteinuria? So glomerulus is not permeable for the molecule which is more than 69 kilodalton. When glomerulus are damaged, they become permeable. Like albuminuria, if it is albumin is present in the urine, it is always pathological. And protein are present in large quantity in case of nephrotic syndrome. More than 3.5 gram protein is excreted in urine. Small quantity suggestive of acute nephritis or strenuous exercise or even in pregnancy. So 300 milligram, less than 300 milligram per day, that is called benign proteinuria. 300 to 1000 milligram, it is pathological proteinuria, and more than 1000 is the glomerular proteinuria because of the damage to the glomerulus. Now, what is microalbuminuria? It is mini albuminuria when level is 30 to 300 milligram per day in urine. It is early detection of nephropathy in diabetes and hypertension. That's why microalbumin is very important. Okay. Now, albumin to creatinine ratio is also important marker of kidney disease. Male less than 23 milligram per gram of creatinine, and in female it is less than 32 milligram per gram of creatinine. Now, what is overflow proteinuria? Like hemoglobinuria, myoglobinuria, they can be present, okay, when the excessive proteinuria is there. So, Benz-Jones protein may be present, or hemoglobin can be present, myoglobin can also be present. Okay. So, this Benz-Jones protein, they are monoclonal light chains are produced in plasmacytomas. Now, tubular proteinuria, they decrease in reabsorptive capacity due to the tubular damage. So, low molecular weight proteins appear in the urine like retinol binding protein or alpha-1 microglobulin. Nephron loss proteinuria in chronic kidney disease due to loss of nephron, there is a tubular proteinuria. Or urogenic proteinuria due to inflammation of lower urinary tract, proteins will be secreted into the tract. So this is about the glomerulus function. So far we have seen about the markers like cystatin C, urea, creatinine, right, and urine examination. So they are all about the different function tests. Then we have seen about the glomerular function. Then one is GFR measurement, mainly in the form of clearance. Formula is UV upon P, right? And then we have seen about the proteinuria in glomerulus function. Okay, proteinuria. Now coming to the tubular function. So what are the different tests like specific gravity? Okay, what is the specific gravity? Okay, it is ability of the kidney to concentration. Okay, so we can measure the measurement of osmolality, concentration test, dilution test, urine acidification test, fractional accretion of bicarbonate, and fractional accretion of sodium. Specific gravity, ability of kidney to concentrate the urine, right? So it is normally around 1.010 to 1.030, and whenever there is a volume overload, okay, in that case specific gravity will be decreased, like, okay, and whenever there is a volume, plasma volume is lost, then specific gravity is increased. Okay, so like diabetes mellitus, okay, or severe diarrhea, vomiting, in all this case specific gravity will be increased, while specific gravity will be decreased because of the volume overload or diabetes insipidus, right? And in specific gravity will be fixed, that is 1.02 in chronic kidney disease, that is called isocynuria. Now coming to the concentration test. So based on the ability of the kidney to concentrate urine, and it is also based on the specific gravity of the urine. The test was conducted either under condition of restricted fluid intake or by inhibiting diuresis by injection of ADH. So we restrict the fluid, okay, for 8 to 10 hours, and then we measure the specific gravity. It should be normally increased in normal person. Okay. So in dilution test, we give plenty of fluids, okay, and in normally the specific gravity after giving plenty of fluids, it should be decreased, okay, and that is suggestive of normal function. That is a dilution test. Now that is also called as a phenolsulfothylene excretion test. Amount of dye employed, and 94% is excreted by the tubular action and only 6% by the glomerular filtration. Thus, the test measures the primarily the tubular activity as well as being a measure of the renal blood flow. The test is reliable and sensitive if the amount of dye excreted in the first 15 minutes is taken as a criteria for renal function. Okay, so when 1 ml of PSP 6 milligram is injected IV, normal kidney will excrete around 30 to 50% of dye during first 15 minutes. If excretion is less than 23% in 15 minutes, that is suggestive of impaired renal function. But nowadays it is not that much used because better markers are available, like clearance test is there, or CT, MRIs are now available. So we are not performing nowadays this test, ultrasonography, all are this available. Other miscellaneous tests that test for renal ability to exceed the acid by stimulation by sodium chloride. So sodium chloride is given, so it will be converted to NH4 plus C4 minus, so it will be turned to acidic. Okay, it is not used in patient of renal tubular acidosis where pH is less than 5.3, right? Because normally, yeah, it is acidic. Then intravenous pyrography, diodone 30% is injected, and this radiopaque substance, okay, organic compounds of iodine are excreted by the kidney in sufficient concentration to cast their shadow on the X-ray films and give lot of information about size, shape, and function of the kidney. Then radioactive renogram, iodine level if urine is given IV, and then we see the whether it is excreted or not. Now fraction of sodium, that is urine sodium divided by serum sodium divided by urine creatinine divided by serum creatinine into the 100. So it will help us to identify whether the kidney failure is due to the pre-renal cause or renal cause. It is this ratio is less than 1 in pre-renal condition and greater than 2 in case of renal pathology. Now there are immunological tests like complement component that we can measure by the ELISA for chemiluminescence, for immunoglobulin electrophoresis, for paraproteinemia like multiple myeloma, cryoglobin, for autoimmune disease like anti-neutrophil cytoplasmic antibody, anti-GBM antibodies. So all these antibodies that will help us idea whether there is autoimmune disease or not. Then free light chain assay with kappa lambda ratio that is helpful in the plasma cell tumor like multiple myeloma. So if we revise parameters for the residual renal function, so excretion of function like non-protein nitrogen, plasma level of urea, creatinine, uric acid, that will all will help us for the renal function. The endocrine function we can measure HB, calcium, phosphate, because vitamin D, calcium phosphate is related to vitamin D. So vitamin D is synthesized by the ECT cell of the kidney. Okay, hemoglobin, erythropoietin. Okay, so hormonal function of the kidney we can assess by this also. Then homeostasis like pH, electrolyte, sodium, potassium chloride, bicarbonate. So because it maintains the acid, base, and water electrolyte balance, so we can do this test. And so summarize renal function test. Okay, it will help us to classify the diagnosis of kidney disease and prognosis of the kidney disease, right? And we do the urine analysis. We do the glomerular function test in the form of clearance. Clearance, most important is inulin, but only disadvantage it has to be given IV. Endogenous substance like serum creatinine and serum urea. Okay, so creatinine clearance and urea clearance, they give us better idea about the function test. Okay, protein urea, because it will give us idea about the, because glomerulus, when a damage to the glomerulus basement membrane, there will be protein urea. And tabular function like dilution test, concentration test, acidification test, so they will guide a idea about the kidney disorder. Okay, so this is all about the renal function test. I hope you like this video. If you like this video, please hit the like button, share my video, subscribe to my channel, and press the bell icon so that you can get notification for my future video also. Thank you friends for watching. Bye.